Why, hello there, friends, family, and everybody in between that likes Magic the Gathering. It's Dylan from Alternate Universes, and on the left we have George Effortless playing Blue-Red Murktide. On the right we have Alex Fear Gang playing Elves? Not Rakdos Scam this week, folks. He wanted to play something new. The white balancing on the camera is a little bit off, and it's going to kill me for the entirety of this recording session, but that's okay. Alex leading on a turn 1 Misty into Forest into Landor Elves. Now, I'm going to say this now before anybody says it down below in the comments. There will inevitably be an elf card that I get the name wrong or don't know. I apologize to you greatly. I believe that is a Woodland Cemetery into a Leaf Crowned Visionary. This is the new elf card from Dominar United. One of that cycle of lords or pseudo-lords that we got. And this card is cool. This card made me almost buy into elves just by the printing of it. So, 2 green, it is a 1/1. Other elves you control get +1/+1, and whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay green. If you do, draw a card. It's pretty cool. Like, you get a draw engine in elves, and it's pretty solid. Big fan of this card, and in general, I'm honestly just a big fan of the elf tribe. I've played against the deck so many times in Legacy that I've always wanted to try it, and in Modern, after Kaldheim had released, standard set Kaldheim, there was a couple pretty cool elf cards in that set. And Golgari Elves started to make a little bit of a comeback. I think this is pre-MH2. Right? Kaldheim was pre-Modern Horizons 2? Yeah. Pre-existence of Fury. Yeah, built that, played that, had a good time. There's a Kyrian Ranger. There's some elves in the graveyard, I don't know. I think that's the one that when it enters the battlefield, it makes a 1/1 token. George, looking a little light here on lands. Is that a Jace the Mind Filter in his hand? Honestly, a little bit of respect for having Jace in the main deck of Murktide. I always liked it as a sideboard piece for when you would play like the blue-white control matchup, and you would just board into effectively Izzet control. All right, Heritage Druid. We are making mana. That is a Elvish Archdruid. It's the Lord that taps to make mana for all the elves you control, I think. I know a lot of elf cards. I just don't know which ones are which. I'm so sorry. Moises, if you're watching this, I've let you down, son. There's a Dragon's Rage Channeler coming out here. And Odawara. I like how both decks have played their channel lands. Ragavan getting played out for the treasure here. Choosing to not dash it makes sense. Alex has a blocker. Going to play an Elvish Mystic here because of the caster. We'll get to draw a card off Leaf Crown Visionary.
Go for Nettle Sentinel.
There's a Nettle Sentinel. This is the one that if it does not untap during your upkeep or during your maintenance step, but whenever you cast a green spell, it does untap. It combos really well with Heritage Druid because, you just get to keep untapping it and tapping it for mana. Bunch of stuff in the pool here. Cast a green spell, Nettle Sentinel will untap. I see another Heritage Druid in Alex's hand. Looks like we're going to be playing it. And before it's not actually called Heritage Druid, and my entire knowledge of elf cards is a lie in my brain.
I will swing for 3. We're getting there.
Okay, I'll go to 16.
I will pass to you.
I'm going to pass over to George. George is going to take a look at that hand. Going to consult it. See how much power Alex has on his board, which I think everything's a 3/3, and he's going to scoop it up. So Alex will be taking game 1 with mono green elves or potentially Golgari elves. And we're going to jump cut so quickly into game 2, where George is going to lead on a flooded strand. I feel like the sideboard in Murktide is so good against elves. You have cards like Fury, you have cards like Brotherhood's End, which like people, I think everyone's playing Brotherhood's End. We know for a fact that George is playing it. I've had George on camera the last 2 weeks. I think we've had Alex on camera the last 2 weeks as well. But Alex is playing a different deck, and I had not planned to put either of these people on camera this week, just because I want to get some variety. But Alex showed me, he was like, "You want to see my deck?" And I was like, "Of course I want to see what you're playing." Because that usually means I'm playing something different, Dylan. And I opened the box, and I saw a Court of Calling, and I was like, well, you're not somebody who plays Yawgmoth, so Elves? And he goes, yeah. And I went, awesome. We'll put you on camera round 1. George, playing a letter shredder.
You have 4
Playing a
in hand.
bauble. Getting a connive trigger.
Have 4 in hand.
Sounds good.
Alex playing a Verdant Catacombs, and then a Lannilar Elves. Those are Lannilar Elves from the Dominaria art.
Upkeep, draw a card.
I don't know why I remember that. I mean, I work at a card shop. I know a lot about cards. But that one, I don't know why I remember that.
Iteration.
There's an expressive iteration from the Strixhaven promo pack.
Put this card in my hand.
Absolutely amazing. I'm so conflicted. If anybody knows me, they know I actually really enjoy the retro frame cards. I think they look really nice. However, I don't know if I like the retro framed expressive iteration better or the promo pack ones. So I have a playset of each, and I just never actually know which ones I want to use. When EI was legal in Legacy, I was using the retro ones, and then using the promo pack for Modern,
Right?
True.
and very briefly Pioneer.
I'd fetch an underground seed for the match loss.
There's an engineered explosives getting revealed that
I'm gonna play
that
the engineered explosives.
EI there.
1 trigger letter
Going to
shredder.
cast it for 1, get a connive trigger. Yeah, a lot of things in Georgia's sideboard that are going to be good in this matchup. Fury, Brotherhood's End, and we know he has a Fury in hand. EI, very good for blowing up 1-drops, as we can
Unless you have some
surmise.
fast effect.
Force of Vigor. No, I'm kidding.
You can't. Aha.
Aha. True that. Alright, I'll draw.
Folks, it's the end of May already, and I don't believe it. Mostly because, like, mentally in April, for some reason, my brain erased May in my head.
Double swing.
I'd be like, yo, Spider-Man's Across the Spider-Verse is coming out in 2 weeks.
I'll pass to you.
And my friends would be like, no, that's in a month. And I'd be like, that's crazy. May's not real. We're going into June. Now that we're in May, and May's almost over, it feels like it wasn't real.
Alright, I'm going to
Kind of nuts, huh?
The Cradle one.
Is this what it's like to get older?
He's also an anthem.
Fellow elderly people watching this video, is this what it's like? We're going to pitch and evoke a Fury, exiling Ragavan. We're going to assign some damage here to kill off both of those elves.
Goodbye, sweet elves.
Fury shall die.
Goodbye, Sweet Fury. And
It would
then
almost be funny if Alex had played against Scam round 1.
all iteration trigger.
Yep.
Going to get a connive trigger by casting this EI.
All iteration. I'll put this one in my hand. I'll exile this one, and this goes on the bottom.
Sure.
I'll play the bauble, and I'll attack you for 3.
I'll take 3.
And I'll pass the turn.
Sounds good. I'll draw. I'll cast a Nettle something.
Alright, Nettle Sentinel coming out here.
And I'll cast a Duels Elite.
Trigger letter shredder.
Yep, you're good.
Going to play the elf that makes a 1/1 green elf on play. The token,
This card.
pretty sure. Going to connive, gonna fetch.
Sure.
Drops the consider so that letter shredder will increase by 1.
And I'll cast counterspell on your Duels Elite.
Sounds good. I'll pass to you.
Let's take a look at the top card of your deck. Yep. Upkeep, draw.
Sorry.
Bum, bum, bum. Let's what? Oh, draw for turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's Ledger Shredder,
Sure.
and let's
We're shredding.
Dash Ragavan.
Yep.
Alrighty. Going to dash a Ragavan here.
First,
Sure.
We missed the counterspell on the thing.
this one.
There was also a bird that got played. Doing our connive triggers. Drops 2 lands, so no power increases here.
I'll trade.
I feel like we forgot to give the Shredder +1. Or was it only at 1 last turn? I thought it had 2 counters already.
I'll draw.
I don't know. George could have just been very quick with it.
Archstride. Pass turn.
Yeah, I don't know which one that is. Oh, what the fuck art is that? Insert elf. Probably one of the lords. Let it crack in for damage.
Sounds good.
Alex goes to 6. There's only 2 turn clock. We'll Brazen Borrower back. Oh, I know which one this is. This is the
I'll draw.
this is the one that makes mana, right?
Let's go to game 3.
Elvish Archdruid. That's that one.
I'll take the play.
Yeah, that's Elvish. Oh, what art is that?
Hmm.
Okay, well that's not the art I was expecting. But George will take game 2, and game 3 will hypercut right 2 with a Nettle Sentinel going first for Alex here. Shocking and Steam Vents for George, going to 18. We're going to play a Bolt on that Nettle Sentinel.
Yep.
A Mishra's Bauble.
Untap my feet, draw. Carrion Ranger. Activate. Heritage Druid. Passing up.
Green Ranger into a Heritage Druid. I guess now that I have a list up, I can like fact check my names on stuff. Yeah, it's Heritage Druid. Heritage Druid. Lenore Elves, Nettle Sentinel, Visionaries, the draw card one, Warmaster, Archdruid, Champion, Zuri, Realmwalker, Rexage. How old is this list? What am I looking at? Is this from last year?
It is your turn.
This is from last year. Jesus Christ. I don't believe that's accurate.
There it is.
There's like no way elves haven't done anything in 2
Make
years.
3 mana. Let's go
George is
Warmaster.
considering. Alex is making mana and playing. There is the one from Call Time that we talked about very briefly earlier. That is Elvish Warmaster.
I will activate targeting
Is a
heritage
2 mana
druid,
2/2.
so
Whenever one or more other elves enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, and that ability triggers only once per turn. But then you can pay 7 mana into it, and then elves you control get +2/+2 and gain Death Touch until end of turn.
That's a lot of things.
Pretty
on
cool
the
if I do say so
Passive
myself.
Elvish Archdruid.
Really good when you have a bunch of mana and a Zuri on the board, and you can make stuff really big.
I go to 15.
I will pass to you and clean up my board state.
How big is your board?
I
Getting in
got,
for some combat damage here.
3, 2, 3, 4.
Also,
3,
add in the fact that, you know, elves make your stuff big.
Sorry.
But Alex only has 1 land at hand. George, going to cast a Brotherhood Den here, dealing 3 damage to each creature, and this will be a board wipe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everything dies, right?
It's going to be a massive swing in tempo.
That's my fault.
And then it's your turn.
Alright. I'll pass to you. I brought in
Has
the card.
Court of Calling, Elvish Warmaster in hand.
Right, the Selfless Spirit. Sure.
Your turn.
Pass to you.
Consider.
Sure.
I'll leave it on top. Just draw.
Never realized how aggressively loud that binder is. Apologies if you heard that. If you didn't hear that, just imagine that I'm crazy. George, fetching out a island with a polluted delta here.
Is that a shredder?
Sure.
Bobble?
Sure.
Trigger? Your turn.
Draw.
Right. Got a Shredder and a Bauble.
You got it?
Got a
Pass to you.
Elvish Warmaster. Looks like we have Cord plus Cord plus Elvish Mystic in hand.
Unholy Heat.
And Holy Heat on the War Master.
Bounce.
Brazen Baller back for Lennar Elf. Connives away a Spell Snare.
3.
Take 3.
Cracks in for 3. Alex will go to 17.
I'll look at the top card of your deck. Okay. During your upkeep, I'll draw.
Yep. I'll pass to you.
Attack for 3.
Take 3.
And play the Lennar Elf again.
Draw. Swing for 1.
13.
Cast a Mystic and pass to you.
Borrower.
Sure.
Unholy Heat. Trigger.
Removal spell, sure.
Attack for 6.
Take 6.
Channel.
I'll go to 7. Ugh, the blowout, it hurts.
Okay, resolving is to reinforce and untap. That's Cord plus Leaf Crown Visionary in hand.
Give Delirium.
I want to say yes.
And I believe George is delirious, so Alex is going to be unable to stop the incoming damage on the next turn.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it.
And that will be game 3 going to George. Thank you for watching, folks, and have a great
And
rest of your day.
another removal spell and a Snapcaster Mage for the 7th removal spell.
I did. It feels really good.